Overnight, immigration officials explaining this arrest. Surveillance video shows SUVs surrounding this vehicle. Inside, Joel Arrona-Lara and his pregnant wife, Maria del Carmen Venegas, on their way to a Southern California hospital to deliver their baby.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today I bring you a very interesting story about two illegal aliens and their anchor baby. Now, illegal aliens, anchor baby, that's not necessarily a unique thing to the US of A due to the unfortunate loophole in the Constitution, but for now, I digress. We all know about anchor babies. We know what's going on with that. If you are an illegal alien and you give birth to a baby on US soil, that baby is a U.S. citizen regardless of what. So their parents may be illegal, but since the baby is legal, that gives them more of a standing to continue to be here in USA. However, this case is different because of a couple things. First is the media coverage, and second is the true story that is much different from the media coverage. Let's get into the media coverage first. They covered this story as a father rushing to the hospital to take his pregnant wife to give birth, and then they get apprehended by ICE and he's deported back to Mexico just because they're here illegally. They didn't do anything wrong. They're just trying to find a better life. How dare ICE pull this poor man and his wife over when she's going to have a baby? She drove herself to the hospital when she was in 3 days of intensive labor, all this, that, and the third. Okay, that's the image that they want you to get from the media coverage. And I'll place some stories in the box below. One of them I saw from NBC Nightly News. I forget if it was Lester Holt or whoever. It may have been on the weekend coverage, so he was not there if that's what the case was. But again, I'll put some links in the box so you'll be able to see how the story was covered in the very beginning. Now, when I saw the story, I'm like, wow, okay. The wife was giving birth. Well, too bad. Shouldn't have been here. You know, I'm not really that empathetic towards people that come here breaking the law, especially since I know more about these particular individuals. The reality is that you have two illegal aliens. You have Joel Arrona-Lara and Maria del Carmen Venegas. They have been here in the US of A for 12 years. They have 5 kids already, ranging in ages from 3 to 13. So at least one of their kids is not an anchor baby, because a 13-year-old, obviously that doesn't, it doesn't really add up. If you've been here 12 years, you got a child that's 13, it doesn't really add up. But at least 3 to 4 of the kids are anchor babies. All right. That's a little bit about them, but let's get into more detail. When the husband was driving the wife to the hospital, she was not in labor. She was going for a scheduled C-section. All right. So it was a doctor's appointment. Basically, it wasn't like she was about to give birth right now. The baby was coming out. The baby got halfway delivered in the car and they had to rush her into the hospital to cut the umbilical cord. No, it was a scheduled operation. Now, how are you able to go to the hospital and get a scheduled C-section with a doctor and all of that? As illegals, I don't know, but for now, again, I digress. The husband was apprehended by ICE because of a murder warrant in Mexico. So I don't know if this guy was on the run, if he was wanted just in general to appear before court. I don't know what's going on, but there was a warrant in Mexico for his arrest on a murder charge. Now, their lawyer, before I even get into it, I don't want to hear about these stories about the poor illegal alien, the poor illegal immigrant. I mean, this guy has pretty good access to health care. He's taking his wife to a doctor's appointment. He has a car. He has a lawyer. Dresses real nice. I'm not really trying to hear all these sob stories. But to get back to it, his lawyer said that, oh, well, the charges are unfounded. He has no criminal history. What does your criminal history have to do with a pending warrant on a murder charge? Your murder charge could be your first offense. I mean, that's possible. He's 36 years old, but it could be his first offense. It could have been anything. He could have been in Mexico visiting family, and then, you know, he might have went to the bar, get to drinking. Next thing you know, he gets into a fight and somebody winds up dead. It could have been anything that happened. We don't know, which is why you need to appear before a court to figure out what's going on. I'm not familiar with Mexico's legal system, but if it's anything like our system here in the U.S., go before a court, take your lawyer that you already have, obviously, who has released a statement to the media. Take your lawyer, go to court, fight the case. Either you're innocent, guilty, whatever the case may be. But I'm not trying to hear any kind of sob story. I'm not trying to see your crocodile tears when you have a warrant for your arrest, and that is most likely the reason why you were apprehended. See, there's a lot of illegal immigrants here in the USA. You're talking about maybe 11 million, and that's conservative. It could be as many as 30 million people here illegally. And that comes in a variety of ways. You can be overstaying your visa. You could have hopped a border. There are a variety of ways to come here illegally, to have illegal status in the USA. So out of all those people, you have certain priority targets. Maybe you have big companies that are housing like 100 illegal aliens. That's going to be a big catch all at once, rather than going after some random guy and his wife and his baby, taking her to the hospital. Okay. You also have priority of people that are here that are wanted criminals, people that commit crimes over and over again, repeat offenders of the immigration law, people that come over the border time and time again, that get deported time and time again. You're talking about high priority targets. This guy apparently was a high priority target. So I don't want to hear anybody's crying and complaining about this whole situation. You see from Washington Post, New York Post, all these liberal lefty organizations, their headlines talking about ICE pulled over a father taking his pregnant wife to the hospital. She drove herself to deliver the baby. All sensationalized. And I admit, when I saw it, I was asking questions like, okay, was the wife, was she in labor? And I'm a kind of guy that can recognize fake news right away. So if I was kind of questioning what was going on with the story, imagine what the average normie who is not really into politics like myself, who does not have the time to really be able to decipher what the media is talking about, who does not have time to go and investigate what's really going on. See, ICE put out a statement saying that anybody that's here illegally could be deported, which is the truth. But then all kind of backlash came, and they had to give a little bit more information that this guy was here illegally, number one, and number two, had a murder warrant in Mexico. This is what Trump was talking about when he said Mexico's not sending us their best people. The murderers, the rapists, the drug dealers. We have guys like this and girls like this floating across our border, people that traffic children and other adult human beings. We don't want individuals like this here. All right. And the reality is, as I close, we don't really want anybody that's here illegally, period, but especially not those who are here illegally and committing acts of violent crime. And the crazy part about this is that the guy was wanted for a warrant in Mexico. So he wasn't even doing this dirt here. He was doing this dirt back home. So this is the kind of guy that Mexico was sending us. Rather than sending us their doctors, lawyers, chemists, architects, engineers, we're getting guys like this who want to be in the USA, leeching off of the American taxpayer. Because if you're here illegally for 12 years, are you paying taxes? Like, are you paying federal income taxes? That's what's going on in California. I doubt it. You get all kind of health care. You got a lawyer. Why don't you just tighten up your immigration status, sir and ma'am, and don't commit crimes in your country of origin here or anywhere else? So that was a crazy story, but I'll do more stories like that exposing the media, because it's getting really ridiculous at this point. I mean, it's to the point now where I don't believe anything. As soon as something comes out, I don't care what source it comes from. It can come from Fox News. I don't care. I'm going to think twice, especially when I see a story with a liberal slant on it. One of these stories makes your eyes water and stuff like that. Okay, a story that's put out there to make the average normie upset and emotional people start welling up in their eyes. I'm not with it. I want to investigate everything, and that's just pretty much where I am with it. So what do you think? Do you think that ICE did the right thing here in apprehending this suspected murderer? Do you think it was a wrong thing? Do you think that he should have been able to take his wife to the hospital to have a scheduled C-section? She was not in labor. See, when I first even saw the story myself, I'm thinking they, it was a mad dash to the hospital. They interrupted the labor. She had to go to the hospital, had a baby by herself. But, it didn't really make a lot of sense because if the ICE agents are there, they're basically police. And if they see this woman in labor, wouldn't it make sense for them to take her to the hospital? Like, she was not in labor. She was just going to a doctor's appointment. But see, that's how the media does. They paint a picture for you even without necessarily saying the words. They didn't say that she was in labor. They just said that she was on the way to deliver a baby and she drove herself and then delivered it. But see, that's kind of how they get around accusations of yellow journalism, libel, slander, or whatever. They use wormy language. But the reality is, in my opinion, that's a kind of a form of yellow journalism. You're not telling the truth because you're obfuscating it with language that does not tell the full story. And you do so intentionally to paint a picture that is not reality. You want to paint a picture that is the best for your viewing audience to get clicks, to get ratings. That's what you do. You're not so much concerned about the truth as you are about pushing a particular narrative that would benefit you as a company. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.